Hi, this is Erica Synths Perkons. It can sound like this, or like this, or like this, and so many more kits and options. What's up and welcome back to another video. My name is Miles Away, and it's with great honor and privilege today that I get to talk to you guys about the amazing Erica Synths Perkons HD-01 drum machine in its brand new jet black color. Today, I'm gonna do my best to inspire you with different demo songs, jams, and a walkthrough of this amazing piece of gear, and to show you why I'm truly blown away by this. So, without further ado, let's dive into the wonderful and inspiring world of Erica Synths Perkons HD-01. If you do enjoy this video, all that I ask is that you like, subscribe, maybe share it with a friend who also enjoys synths and drum machines. This is without a doubt the longest I've ever worked on one of these gear review videos, so I truly hope you enjoy. Feel free to use the chapters in the description to skip around, as this is going to be a long one. Sit back, grab a beverage of your choice, and enjoy. Alright, well hopefully you enjoyed listening to that demo track as much as I enjoyed producing and creating it. Now, for transparency's sake, this is not going to be one of those videos where we do a full unbiased review where we go through pros and cons, shortcomings, comparisons to other drum machines, go through every single algorithm. There's already great videos like that out there. For me, it would be impossible to do this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, not only did Erica Synths send over this drum machine for me to check out, but also this has just immediately become my favorite piece of gear to play with in the studio because I've just been having so much fun. Maybe over the course of the next few months or few years, I'll start to find shortcomings that I don't like, but honestly, right now, I'm so amazed by this piece of gear and I'm using it on literally every single thing I'm making that I just want to bring you my pure joy and inspiration and hopefully inspire you, whether you already have a Perkons, you want to get one, or you want to try to make music like this with what you do have. That entire song started from one single take live performance of me messing around on the Perkons that I did not edit at all. Now, to me, that is incredible. That entire song came from one session of me just having fun messing around on this instrument. I'm almost playing Perkons more like an instrument than a drum sequencer, and that's where the light bulb moment really went off for me and why I clicked so well with this instrument. So what about this signature sound palette that Perkons has? Well, we've already heard how amazingly crisp and crunchy and industrial it can sound, but how does Perkons fare when dealing with some more traditional drum machine duties in a more melodic track? Well, what do you think? For me personally, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how well Perkons can handle these more traditional drum machine duties, but at the same time, it's always going to have its own personality and sound shine through, and I would definitely recommend pairing it with, like I do, some drum machine samples inside your DAW, or even a more basic simple drum machine that can play back Lindrum samples, live acoustic drums, etc. Next up, let's jump onto the front panel, design a beat from scratch, and learn about how Perkons works. So let's start off by getting a basic beat in here. We'll go for and program a couple kick drums, a couple snare drums, some hi-hats like this, and a percussion note right here. We can adjust the tempo like this, all the way down to here. If we want to get some really fine control, we can adjust it like this, and you see the lights. This will be 100, 10s, and then individuals. So if I wanted to program 100 BPM, it looks like that, 110. Now, where the absolute magic of Perkons comes in is in the ability to have per step automation that will basically turn each of these lanes into its own independent instrument. The best way to show you about this, how it works, is by doing an entire beat just on this first track. So if I go forward and put in a kick drum on each one, let's turn down the tempo a little bit here. So we've got a nice long bassy kick drum, but let's go ahead and add in a second step, turn down the decay, add in a third step, turn down the decay, pardon me. Fourth step, turn down the decay. Fifth step, add in a bunch of tuning, crazy FM automation, and then keep going and just kind of do this until we have a full beat sketched out. Now, after programming that in, that sounds like this. Now, we just have one of the four voices playing right now, and just on its own already right there, that's an amazingly creative and lively techno pattern. Now, I wanted to do that quick detour and make a beat on one track before really diving into each of the voices, because hopefully that goes to show just how powerful this drum machine is. Now, before I keep gushing over this, let's go ahead and we'll start off with creating a bit more of a complex pattern so I can show you the different features in full. So again, as always, let's start with just some basic kicks and snares, see how this sounds. Now already, this sounds amazing. The core tone of Perkons is incredible, and I think one of the big things that contributes to that is the compressor that's built in. This bus compressor, this master compressor, absolutely massive. Let's add in some hi-hats. We'll add in some live automation like we saw before. already sounding massive. I could keep jamming on this all day, but I do want to go through what each of the 4 voices kind of specializes in. But on voice 1, you basically have a kick, a bass, whatever you want it to be. I find that the best way to choose whether it's going to be a kick or a bass is by controlling the decay. Typically, if you want to go for your standard kick, go to Algo 3 Mode 1, and you can really sculpt some huge sounding kicks. Love it, love it. Below that, we have each of the voices has a wonderful sounding multi-mode analog filter. The mode can be automated, which is awesome. I'll go back to that shortly. But basically, typically speaking, we've got our low pass. Let's add in something with a bit more body here. Really rich sounding low pass filter. Then we've got a band pass. Really useful for percussion synthesis, having a band pass, and then the high pass, which is absolutely my most used filter, because when you have a massive sounding kick like this, you really do want to shave off the low end for the other sounds. Okay, let's go ahead and leave it in low pass mode, and we have this fantastic sounding drive. Let's go back to our kind of softer sound here. If we were to go to Algo 1. Yeah, listen to that saturation. This drive, again, this is the perfect pairing in my opinion of digital and analog, because you get the crunch and the flexibility of digital with the warmth and the saturation of real analog distortion, real analog filters. We'll leave it clean for now. Just such a fat sounding kick, unbelievable. Now voice 2 can be either a bass sound, or it can do some really interesting FM percussive donk things. So voice 3 has essentially the role of being typically either a snare drum, clap, or a car plus strong synthesizer, which is kind of like a string plucked sound, a very, very cool sound. Let's go ahead and check it out. So right now we've got our sort of traditional noise snare. But if we go to mode 1, algorithm 1, and we start to, let's disable the filter for now. I'll leave this on high pass. We can get some really cool tonal snares in there. I'll go to car plus strong quickly here. Such a cool sound. This is a great place to talk about what each knob has, which is the effect send, which will send the voice to the built-in BBD analog delay on Perkons, which again, like everything else on this, you're probably getting tired of me saying it, sounds incredible. So if we were to do something a little bit differently, and let's go ahead and add in a couple of automated sounds here to make our single track be both the bass and the snare. Let's go ahead and turn that up. Crazy FM. I'll also go ahead, and we'll get to voice 4 in a sec, but I'll go ahead and extend the decay for those particular ones to really emphasize that snare on the 2 and the 4. Awesome, that's gonna free up lane 3 for us to do some kind of interesting melodic techno stuff. So let's go ahead and just punch in a bunch of random notes at random, and we can hear the beauty of this amazing car plus strong sound playing into the amazing sounding Bucket Brigade delay. Oh, like a whole track right here. Let's go ahead and automate that little movement here so we can have it rising in pitch. Ready? Love it. That sounds incredible. So moving on to our final voice here, voice 4, again, one of the more versatile ones. It typically does the role of a hi-hat. So if we hear what I have right now, it's kind of quiet. Let's go ahead and change to algorithm 1, change to our high pass filter, probably use that in a bit, turn everything up. Another sort of tonal sound. Probably the one I use the most actually is the third algorithm, which is really more like a cymbal sample of some kind. If it's not a sample, it sounds really acoustic, and this one paired with the tuning knob and then the amazing high pass filter will really go a long way to creating these really nice punchy, crispy hi-hats. So that's a brief, non-exhaustive tour of the different modes and algorithms, and now let's play around with what makes the sequencer on Perkons so fun and so musical. So for example, if we go ahead and look at this button here, this is going to be connected with these buttons here, ratchet, odds, odds, probability. So for example, if we wanted to grab our last hi-hat note here, we're on ratchet mode, we're gonna make it do a roll. 5 notes will play in one. Then I'm gonna grab another one here, I'll make it do a roll, but only 2. Grab another one here, 4. Let's do this a couple more random times so you can really hear. Really, really cool, right? We're getting this sort of like rolled, interesting vibe to it, right? So similarly, what we can do here, and this is the easiest to hear probably on these hi-hats, we'll go ahead and play around with the odds and probability. So if I go ahead and hold down another note, I'll switch it to probability, 25, 10% actually. So it's gonna only play 10% of the time. Let's do that with another one here, 25% probability. Oh, let's do here, we'll make this one 50, make this one 25. We'll do a couple of these for these ones as well too. We'll do odds. So here, similarly, it's gonna play half of the time, 1/3 of the time, 1/4 of the time, or here 2/3, 3/4, 4/5. So let's go ahead and punch in some odds. So we'll do that, and that. And then let's go ahead and we'll punch in one more note. We'll do a little roll here, but we'll make that one only play 10% of the time. So right away, we're getting almost generative type stuff where it's all of a sudden no longer just a basic 16-step sequence, it's sort of alive. So if that weren't enough, we can then press Shift and we have a whole bunch of other interesting things like grooves, play modes, divisions, and multiplications. So for example, if I wanted to make our car plus strong melody really crazy, I could go multiply, make it play twice as fast. And if I wanted our hi-hats to be a bit more chill, let's make them divided in 2 and play half as fast. Now, a good thing to do if you're playing around with these different divide and multiply things is hit reset before you play, and that'll bring everything back to beat 1 so you don't get any weird things starting or stopping at the wrong time. Amazing, right? The other thing, so I'm just gonna undo this quickly to hear the hi-hats, but if we bring it back to normal, we can then look at our grooves. So if we see A, B, C, and random, we have different groove modes we can choose, which are really powerful. They'll really sort of change the way the velocity and the vibe of the sort of playing works. Let's listen to how that'll sound on the hi-hats. On the car plus strong now too. Put it on the kick as well. That's a little extreme on the kick for me. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll move on here and then we will go in and look at the last couple things. So play mode is really powerful. I'm actually going to move our hi-hats back to halftime. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with the play modes, which you will see will play the notes out of order. If you guys watched my video on the Polyend Play or Polyend Play Plus, you'll know this is one of my absolute favorite features, and they have it on the Perkons just like they do there. It really changes up your beat in a significant way and makes it really feel interesting and fresh. So let's go ahead and make the car plus strong play totally randomly, make the hi-hats play totally randomly, and we're going to go ahead and make the bass drum play ping pong. I have no idea how this will sound. Let's give it a try. So now let's watch our notes here. Okay, so it's getting pretty chaotic. I know what's causing that. That's the ping pong here. Typically, I like to have my bass drum and kick drum play on beats, but let's have some fun here. Let's put everything to random and just see how this sounds. Got some like IDM type stuff. If we were to turn up the BPM. If that weren't enough, we also have access to an LFO for modulation, as well as an LFO for our BBD delay. So without it getting too crazy, I'm just gonna mute everything except for this car plus strong melody for now. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and clear this lane and then redo something just so we don't have any of that pesky pitch automation to distract us from what the LFO is doing. Awesome, let's just add in one thing to make it cool because we can. We'll add in a ratchet. Awesome, okay, so now we get to the modulation section by pressing this mod button, and we now have all of these buttons, send them to this modulation bus. So let's go ahead and take our tune of our mod 1 and we'll send it, we'll make it go crazy. So now, as we hear, we press play. Let's go ahead and automate the drive too. Automate parameter 1. Automate parameter 2. There we go. Let's bring back the delay, bring back our other instruments. Even just voice 1 and voice 3 together. Like, such happy accidents just fall out of this machine. One of the absolute coolest things about Perkons is the ability to use individual send and returns for each voice and then mix them back into this fantastic sounding master compressor and output it all out of the main output. Now, for example, here I have this kick. It's a really nice deep sine wave kick, but I want to absolutely destroy it with this Walrus Eons pedal. That sounds absolutely massive. I can use the controls of the pedal here. Insane. Now, obviously this is creating a lot of white noise because it's an extreme example, but how about if we wanted to take this snare drum and process it with this beautiful sounding light pedal from Game Changer Audio. This is one of the coolest things here because this is actually right now creating a gated spring reverb sound, which is really, really great on snare drums, and this pedal meshes perfectly with the Perkons. Next up, I have this synth sound, this car plus strong synth, and I'm gonna put it through the chroma console to do this lo-fi pitched up sound. Finally, we have our hi-hats, which I'm just sending to the built-in BBD. And just like that, we have a full pedal suite that's making this sound extremely unique. Without it, let's jam with this. Finally, if you're in a pinch and you don't want to use Perkons as a drum machine, what I was surprised by is that it's actually an extremely capable drone synth as well. When you turn the decay all the way to the right, you open up the VCA fully, and Perkons becomes a 4 oscillator drone synth that can make these amazing otherworldly textures. Well, it's been a long one, but hopefully, whether or not you own a Perkons, this video has inspired you and you can now see why I love it so much for the type of music that I make. To wrap things up for today, let's take everything we've learned and do a live performance where I'm gonna pair the Perkon with the Roly LUMI Keys running Equator 2 for a synth pad, the Polyend Play Plus for some really cool generative sequencing in time, and then the Meris Mercury 7 for some ethereal reverb. Thank you so much for watching. If this video inspired you to get your own Perkons, please use the link in my description. It costs nothing extra to you, and it helps me continue to make these kinds of long form videos because like I mentioned, these take a long time and this one took the longest. Thank you again to Erica Synths for sending the Perkons. Without further ado, it's been a pleasure and I will see you in the next video.